So, Kelly, we saw Uncut Gems this week.
We did.
And I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I found it a little bit confusing to follow. But overall, I left with a generally good impression of the film.
Yeah.
It was one of those that, like, I think to follow all of it and all the people he owed and who all he was hustling and, like, who was mad at him for what, was going to take a few rewatchings.
Right. But that ends up not being super important.
Super important, yeah. It feels very important through the movie, and then you get to the end, you're like, okay. Meh.
Yeah, this story was about something different.
Yes.
than
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it was just, I think what I took away from it was one of those, it's like, you can tell he's just a lost soul, Adam Sandler's character.
Yeah.
Like Howard, he's a lost soul. He wants to win. He keeps talking about winning.
Yeah.
But what that means is very vague.
He wants to win by a lot, too. And
Yes.
that's a big part of
Yes.
it. He doesn't want a small victory. He wants big victories
Yes.
over and over.
Yes.
And that ends up getting him in trouble over and over and over.
Yes, and it's just, I think it's like a deep character study of a deeply flawed individual kind of thing. And from that perspective, it was a really excellent film. I thought Adam Sandler was amazing.
This is 100% the best film I've ever seen him in.
Hands down.
Best
Hands down.
character he's ever played.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
I mean, there are people, I've talked to people who are like, Adam Sandler should stick to comedy. And it's like, this is like...
I would actually say the opposite.
Exhibit A. Oh, I agree with you. I think his dramatic roles have been, he's always just been really great in
And he's especially
dramatic
good
roles.
at playing very particular types of characters, ones who are not usual and who have these very... who are very good character studies.
Yes. And I think he's always, the thing about him in dramatic roles too is he's so different. I mean, you have those actors that you're like, yeah, that was a good performance. That was still, this person just doing another role.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like Adam Sandler is one of those actors that gets lost in the role for me when he's in a dramatic. I feel like his comedies are like that. It's just like Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler. But in his dramatic roles, he's a very different character every time, and he pulls it off really well. And I just thought this was a great role for him.
I agree, yeah. So another thing about it is one of the most tension-filled, anxiety-inducing movies I've ever seen in my life. There is not a moment of relief, maybe 1 second of relief in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And so if you're somebody who is not interested in feeling anxious for a long period of time, this is probably not the movie for you. But I found that so well done. I think it was just this super fast-paced, very quick and almost to the point where it's it feels like real life that's just going at a faster pace.
Yes.
In a way that I feel like that's how I think of New York. So it's set in New York City, and it feels like just real life but faster paced, and that's how I feel every time I go to New York City.
Right, and I think it was a noisy film.
It was so noisy. That was another thing I was going to mention.
Which was something that really stood out to me, because somebody asked me
it was not a moment of silence.
Yeah, somebody asked me about that. They were like, how was Uncut Gems? And I was like, noisy. Yes. That was my first reaction.
Yes.
It was just when somebody wasn't talking, there was radio, there was television, there was taxis honking, there was, and it just was so New York too.
It was the overlapping sounds too that got into your brain, like it was just people talking over each other, and while Howard, the main character, is dealing with one thing, there's somebody yelling at him about something else, and that happens multiple times.
Yes, and I thought for me, I liked the build of, I just felt like the whole story, it just kept these rolling hills of this is going to be bad, this is going to be bad, this is going to be, hey, it might be okay. Oh, no, it's worse, it's worse, it's worse. Oh, okay, it's getting better, it's getting, no, it's worse, it's worse.
But each time, it's not an expected worse. It's worse for a completely out of left field reason. Where did that, oh my God, there's more to this.
Yes, yeah, and even, the ending, I don't want to give it away, but even the end, you're like, oh, is this actually going to end up okay for him? This actually, like...
That's the second
really?
release.
This is going to be this, like, big, like, actually he's going to get everything he wanted? Like, how is this the end of the film? And then it's not the end of the film. And, you know...
Yeah, there's still more.
There's still more. And I thought, for me, it was like Howard's character was really easy to dislike and be like, all he cares about is money. Like, he has this wonderful family and he doesn't care. That's not winning for him. Like, he has a business that seems to be going okay. That's not winning for him. Like, he just keeps
treats his
ruining his life,
his girlfriend terribly.
Yeah.
When he's not doing, but when he's winning, he treats people
nicely.
Like he wants to continue winning people.
Yes.
As well as winning other things.
Yes. And I thought his character was, like, so easy to hate and, like, not care about, but the girlfriend's character, played by Julia Fox, like,
oh my God, she was so
I
good.
thought her performance redeemed him in so many ways.
Yeah. Also,
and, like,
this was her first film.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
that's
she was
insane.
incredible. I thought she was really the dramatic heart of the film. Like, I mean, you're following Adam Sandler's character the whole time, but, like, really it was like, by about the middle of the movie, I could care less about him. What I cared more about was how he was going to ruin her life.
Yeah.
And, like, you could see it, and you're just like, honey, just leave him. Like, just leave him. But then it was just that, like, she was trying to save him almost. And, yeah, I thought she was really, really very much the dramatic heart. And for somebody it was her first film, her acting blew me away. By the end, she was the only character I cared about.
Yes. And that's another really interesting thing about it is that not only was this her first film, but, like, most of the people in the film were people they just kind of grabbed off the street.
I know.
And that was something I thought was so cool about it, was these people felt like people who were genuinely part of the Diamond District in New York and who felt like they actually belonged in this movie, and it made it funnier, it made it more authentic. There were, I don't know, it was just so well done in that way.
And the actual, like, professional actors were disguised to a point where I spent most of my time going, like, I know that person from somewhere.
Exactly.
Like, even Dina Menzel, like,
I didn't know who that was
for me,
until
like,
the end of the movie.
I'm a super fan of hers, and I was just like, who is, whoa! Like, so.
Yeah, and a lot of the bigger
Yeah.
actors, other than Adam Sandler, get relegated to just as small parts as the unknown actors.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's what made it feel so real, was, like, there were some real actors. There was, you know, Kevin Garnett, who was amazing.
Yeah, not to mention.
Like, you know, and so it was,
parts.
yeah, it was just this mix of, like, real life and acting that just, I thought made for a really interesting film. I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was an interesting film.
Yeah, that was something that I said when I first watched it was, I don't want to call it good or bad. It's just like, whoa.
It was.
It just exists. And that is insane that it does.
Yeah.
Like, that somebody made this movie and it turned out so cohesively and, like, watchable.
Yeah.
And I tend to like movies a lot that have that make me feel a very strong emotion. So this is one of them. I felt the same thing watching, like, Spring Breakers back in the day. It just gave me lots of discomfort and anxiety, and most people hated it, and I loved it because of that. And this is another interesting one because looking at the critic reviews versus audience reviews, the audience hates it. It's very mixed. It's like 50% of audience is going to absolutely despise this movie.
Yeah.
If you don't like anxiety, if you don't like cursing, violence, just avoid this one altogether. If you have if you have some heart palpitations, this is not the one.
Yeah, but if you're willing to, like, see something different and weird and not, your average film, I think it's I was telling people who asked me, I was like, it's worth a watch just because it's interesting. Like, and that's kind of, if we're headed towards verdict territory, that would be my verdict, is like, it was worth watching. It was a very interesting film. I'm glad I saw it. I don't know if I loved it.
Yeah. Okay, so to the ratings portion of this section, what what do you think you would rate it?
I think I would give it like 3 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
Like I thought the filmmaking was, and all those 3 are like for the filmmaking and Adam Sandler and Julia Fox were superbly watchable. But yeah, it did make me very uncomfortable. It's not really, the storyline was hard to follow. And then in the end it didn't matter, so that felt weird. So I would say 3. Like, I think it's worth a view. I mean, it is worth watching for Adam Sandler's performance and the interesting filmmaking. But yeah, I think it was a little more obscenities than I really felt were strictly necessary. And yeah, a little more violent, and just like the anxiety thing docked it a few stars for me just because it was an uncomfortable watch.
Yeah. So I think had I rated it right after I saw it, I would have definitely given it about 3, maybe 2.5 stars. After spending a weekend with it in my mind and finding out more things about it, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars just because, I don't know, it's something that's stuck with me and I think about it a lot now, even though, at the time I think I was like, what did I just see? But I don't know, it's something that I found so important just in my mind for now. Like, I don't even know if it's an important cultural film. It's just I found it important for myself.
Yeah. And that's the mark of a good film sometimes, is when it sits with you. Like, there are a lot of movies you walk out and you're like, well, that was fun, but I'm done with that. But the movies you have to chew on, I think you give them an extra star for the
exactly extra star for just being here with me for a while and different scenes flashing into my head.
There you go.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you, Phoebe.
And thank you guys for watching.